millions of people around the globe face severe persecution, exploitation, violence, and poverty. They face threats to their safety and way of life, and their government may be unable or unwilling to protect them. They then find themselves forced to leave their lives behind. Beginning their journey as asylum seekers, they seek legal recognition as refugees so that they can gain protection and safety in a new country. In 2020, records show the global refugee population reached approximately 82 million people. Due to the distressing experiences they endure, professional mental health support is often provided, and some of these people require specialized psychological treatment. Due to these concerns, Dr. Mariam Harriat and her colleagues at the Division of Health Research at Lancaster University, located in the UK, aim to study the experiences of adult asylum seekers and refugees who have undergone individual psychological therapy. Mariam and her colleagues began their review by highlighting several important points to better understand the challenges refugees and asylum seekers face before they start therapy. These people often don't just carry the weight of traumatic experiences that force them to flee. The journey to safety itself is fraught with stress and uncertainty. They've experienced being forced to separate from their loved ones, their land and people. And as they journey into other countries, they often face danger, a lack of security, and restrictive border policies. Upon arrival, they may find themselves struggling to adapt to a new country and culture in which they may face racist attacks, ethnic intolerance, and discrimination. As they await the outcome of their refugee applications, they may be detained and face restrictions that limit their access to work, education, healthcare, and their freedom of movement. Healthcare providers may also struggle to meet their cultural or linguistic needs. These circumstances can lead to significant distress, complex mental health issues, and create obstacles to accessing psychological treatment. With these issues in mind, the researchers decided to find studies that investigated culturally adapted therapies that aim to address traumatic memories, including trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy and narrative exposure therapy. The researchers point out that these therapies can significantly improve trauma symptoms following treatment. However, they note that in the UK, the uptake of these treatments is relatively low. Additionally, previous studies have not fully illuminated the reasons behind the successes or failures of these therapies for individuals. This includes the specific elements of the therapy or the therapist's practices that contribute to the outcomes. The researchers then decided to specifically review qualitative research studies. If you want more details on technical terms like this, you can check out the collaborative library, and they have a quality checklist and glossary on their website and in the description of this video. But in simple terms, this kind of research involves analysing people's stories and perspectives, usually gathered from interviews that have been transcribed into text. This helps researchers gain a more detailed understanding of who these people are, their feelings, and what they experience, and then using that to draw out key themes to improve knowledge. This endeavour was a part of their larger qualitative synthesis. In other words, choosing several qualitative research projects that were quite similar and pulling them together into a single piece of research to bring about a more comprehensive understanding of this issue. After they searched and filtered through research, the team then decided on 8 studies. All the studies conducted interviews with asylum seekers and refugees who had undergone psychological therapy, and they chose these studies based on how relevant and thorough they were. All in all, there were interviews of 33 asylum seekers and 81 refugees, and the aim here was to grasp a deeper understanding of their treatment experiences and how they perceived the process of their therapy. One of the main findings was that participants emphasized the importance of their therapists in witnessing, acknowledging, and validating their feelings and experiences. These experiences range from their past ordeals to their current struggles and the uncertainty and injustice they faced. Key concerns included housing instability, the inability to work due to legal restrictions, discrimination, and the struggle to meet their basic needs. That included feeding their children or avoiding homelessness. This underscores the need for therapists to consider and acknowledge the social and political dimensions of their clients' experiences during therapy sessions. Notably, the uncertainty associated with limbo asylum status was found to deter some from engaging in therapy, while others felt therapy was invalidating or irrelevant if their therapist failed to acknowledge their circumstances. The participants also highlighted the important role of forging a real human connection with their therapist for therapy to be effective. They particularly value traits like empathy, trustworthiness, and an open, non-judgmental approach, especially when dealing with losses and trauma. Some even shared that they came to view their therapist in a similar light to a friend or a family member, which made concluding therapy a challenge for them. This highlights the importance of establishing clear boundaries in a sensitive way throughout therapy, and the significance of using key therapeutic skills. Additionally, participants were grateful for their therapist's ability to support them in identifying the triggers of their distress and strategies to manage them. This included mindfulness and regular exercise. The participants also discussed the cultural stigma that often surrounds mental health and the act of seeking therapy. One participant said of this stigma, "It's deeply ingrained in our society that seeing a psychologist means you're crazy." Another participant shared their perspective that talking about mental health issues is akin to invoking jinns. This can be interpreted as genies or demons within some religions and cultures, and some believe that this act of invoking jinns could potentially exacerbate their problem. This highlights the need for psychological professions to engage more deeply with this community. It also emphasizes the need for therapists to be culturally and religiously sensitive so that they can foster inclusive and tailored therapy that meets the unique needs of these individuals. The participants also described how they perceived the process of addressing past traumas during therapy. For some, this also included addressing the bodily symptoms of pain that was related to trauma. The participants found that having a therapist who validated their experience, understood and included them, and supported them with practical issues and formed a human connection with them, all helped them to process what happened to them in a safe manner. They likened it to being like a lifeline. As one participant shared, "My past was in pieces. We put it back together." The authors called for a shift in perspective among clinical practitioners. They caution against the oversimplification of trauma as a problem that resides within the individual alone. They highlight the importance of acknowledging the wider social and political influences. It is important to note that the authors may hold biased perspectives, especially when we consider how socio-politically charged the topic of migration is today. Additionally, the review did not cover strategies refugees and asylum seekers could use to develop resilience or manage trauma. However, it emphasized the importance for mental health practitioners to understand, recognize, and incorporate the wider range of experiences and voices of refugees and asylum seekers into their therapeutic approaches. This approach holds significant importance in providing more effective support to some of the most vulnerable and persecuted people on Earth.